I look around and I see these massive generators. I want to talk about electrical energy in today. I see these massive generators that are beside buildings, right? Like there's critical infrastructure. Particularly where I live. I live in a state where we have a lot of hurricanes. So these generators are important. They kind of kick in. These big giant diesel powered generators that kick in when the power goes out, whenever there is a hurricane or some sort of natural disaster or emergency. Um, and I look and I was sort of thinking, like, why are we not making this transition quicker to battery packs that will be a lot smaller um, in terms of, like the infrastructure, right? Like, these generators are huge and they're noisy and they're dirty and they're messy. Um, and we haven't made these transitions. There's like a perfect case for this. I don't know if you've ever gone to a food truck. A lot of them have generators that are running and they're noisy as all get out. They're really, really noisy. And nobody wants to be. I hate actually food trucks now because, they'll congregate and they'll be so noisy, like is kind of a pain. And you can't talk to anybody and you're like, what the heck? What are you doing? But, I was thinking about, why aren't we not making this transition, right? Like one of the plausible explanations, I think, from some people would say, oh, it's just people being greedy. They don't care about the environment, all these kind of things. I want people to understand that these transitions is sort of transition between two states, right? Like we're moving and transitioning from one energy form to another. It's a little bit easier to use, and a battery is going to be far less expensive in the long run. Oh, we're not there yet, right? Like this is all in the long run. This transition is not as easy as one would like, right? Like there's a lot of chemistry that's involved. There is a lot of engineering that's involved. It's a real pain in the butt, right? To actually make any of these particular transitions, even though that we know that there may be a better way to actually do this. Um, so, what do we do? Right? That's where we take a step back and we say, all right, this stuff is going to take a little bit of time, right? Like that's on one side, it's going to take a little bit of time. On the other side, what we need is to encourage more entrepreneurship in these particular areas. We need more people that are interested in it. And it's a pain, right? Like I'm going to tell you this, it's hard to do something that's like simplistic as we're creating a battery pack. You need to have sophisticated understanding. You need people that are relatively skilled in engineering that understand battery power, as well as understand, the production and storage of power. They understand batteries. It's not easy to find. Um, and then they need to work at it for a relatively long time, right? It's not something that's just going to be like really quick. Although I think right now is we're kind of at a moment where you could assemble a team relatively quickly and get something done that's really interesting. Um, like right now, over the next 5-10 years, I think that is a plausible case to be made to do something like that. Now, what you're going to have to do to build on available technologies, you're going to have to partner with, and this is where it becomes challenging. You partner with large battery powered um, manufacturers unless you do it yourself, but that's hard. It requires enormous resources to do it yourself. So you have to partner with somebody that might take your intellectual property that you just don't know about. There's large battery powers players that you have to be concerned about, right? And so you have to take a step back and say, okay, well, why are we not making this transition? Isn't this easier? Yes. There are some things that will happen in a very, very, very short term, right? I'm saying in the next 5 to 10 years, there'll be some rapid advancements, rapid changes. We're already starting to see a lot more battery run cars. So for example, and so we'll have these natural battery packs that are in our cars, right? That we can use. And so this creates an opportunity for budding entrepreneurs to create software that connects all of these things, all of these automobiles. But then you have to communicate with automobile producers in this area. You have to get through regulations. It's a real pain, right? It's not as easy as one would think, even though you think it should be relatively easy. So what I'm getting at is, despite the fact that, that there is these generators, I'm like, oh my gosh, these big, giant, noisy generators that are sitting here. There's no better alternative at this moment. You can't blame the buyers of these particular things because the alternatives are just not there. Um, how do we change these alternatives? Is we have to make substantial investments in, clean tech in a way that actually is beneficial. That's hard to do, right? As we know, and it's a political, messy process. Um, so are we going to see a transition? Absolutely. Will it happen relatively quick? Yes, it will actually. It'll look like it's quick. Are people at fault for not making this transition? No. Right? Like I don't blame anybody, even though that, yeah, I'm like, I do have a view of like, okay, we can make this transition, but I don't blame people for not making the transition themselves. Do I think that there is more room for entrepreneurship and innovators to go into this space to look at, okay, that there are some real moments of improvement that we can make, even simple things that we can make? Yes. It's the perfect time at this moment to make this transition, to really start thinking about wanting to do something like this. Now, here's the challenging thing. You have to find those people that are willing to do that. And if you've ever done anything that's entrepreneurial, good luck trying to find those people that are not only willing to, jump ship from a job that they're in, but also um, capable. And those two things, whew, good luck. But they're out there. They're few and far between. They're out there. So imagine some really cool things that are going to come down the pipeline when all of this sorts out. Looking forward to it. All right. Take care. Have a wonderful day.